What up, Wholesale to Million family? We're back with another interview. Today it's a first time subscriber, first time wholesale deal interview, and I got the one and only Brandon to jump on. He just closed 10G. Is that right, Brandon? 10G
Yes.
on D for D. Is that correct?
Yes. Driving for dollars.
Driving for dollars. So you guys, if you guys do enjoy this interview, if it add a lot of value to you, please show me and our guests some love. Smash the thumbs up. You're new to the channel. Welcome to the Wholesale to Million family. Smash the subscribe button. Turn on the bell notification. Let's rock and roll and let's go get this money. So Brandon, man, I'll let you take it over, man. You want to tell everybody a little bit about your background, your story, a little bit, how you got into real estate, and then we can kind of lead that into your first wholesale deal, bro.
Okay, well, last year I came across a guy named Mark Whitney. He's from Baltimore. He does wholesaling. He was on a favorite radio station that I watch, Breakfast Club, and I joined his club. I joined his course. I got the information because I was interested. I'd never heard of wholesaling before. Never did I even think about getting into real estate before. But I went ahead and joined the course, dived head first into it, almost closed my first deal for $46,000. It was in California virtually, but I didn't set my contracts up properly. So I didn't know to set them up for 45 plus days. I had I found my buyer and everything, had them deposit the money in escrow, but it didn't. It ended up not panning out. And they ended up buying the property anyway after I closed the contract out a whole 2-3 months later. So it was all good.
So how long do you lock it up with the seller for?
I had the contract for 30 days.
Okay. And then and how long did it take?
He just didn't tell me that I needed to set it up for longer. I paid a mentor $2,000 and he didn't tell me to set it up longer for 30 days. I didn't know.
So, okay, gotcha, man. I mean, listen, you guys, I mean, not just learning from people success, but also too is their failure. All right. So let's talk about this a little bit, bro, if you don't mind, man.
Yeah.
So it was the 30 days. How long did it take you to find your buyers?
I found a buyer in like a week and a half.
Okay. And why couldn't you close?
Because the seller wanted to do an open house. We had already locked the contract up at $780,000, I believe. The house actually sold for $830,000. So I would have made that money in between. But that buyer went to the open house, and my mentor was supposed to go in place of me because I wasn't in, it was in his area. I wasn't in San Jose at the time. So he was going to go in place of me the night before. He told me yes. The morning of, he told me he couldn't make it. So the cash buyer that we had been talking to went ahead anyway and scooped it underneath of me. But didn't tell me that. Just told me that, hey, I talked to the homeowner. They waiting for the tenants to move out, but they're ready to move forward. They already signed a contract, so we're already ready to close. So he said, I'm gonna go ahead and send the money in the escrow. He put it in a different account. And I said, hey man, I sent you the account information for the escrow. That's not the right account. He said, I know, but I had issues, so I just went ahead and opened up a whole escrow account somewhere else. Can you just transfer everything over here? When I brought that back to the seller, she got spooked. She was like, what is this? I don't understand what's going on. I'm like, well, I got partners. They just went ahead and put the deposit in the wrong account, and I wanted to transfer everything over. And she was like, I don't think, and then, you're already 3 days behind on your earnest money deposit because I had been waiting on them, but they went ahead and put it in the wrong account. So when that came down to it, I literally had like a day or two left on the contract. It was already up. And then they just was like, oh, we're just going to wait. We're going to wait for the tenants to fully move out. And then we'll just give you a call back. But long and short, they ended up going and buying and selling it to them same people for $830,000.
So basically, bro, so the buyer went behind your back pretty much, right?
Yeah.
So they signed. So the buyer signed an assignment agreement with you.
Yeah.
You have escrow open with a certain title company.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the buyer signed the assignment agreement with you, and took that, and then went to his own escrow agent and opened up. Now, do they have the purchase and sale agreement between you and the seller?
They did. They had a copy of it. Yeah.
Okay, so they did have a copy. So they took it, And did they drop off the non-refundable deposit?
They just put 20,000 in escrow. Saying we just put 20,000 in escrow so you can see, and it, a whole completely different escrow account. And I said, okay. Took it back to the seller, but the seller had got weirded out by the whole transaction. I explained to them what it was. I said, these are my partners. They're, you know, they're the money guys. I'm just behind them. I prospect, get the properties under contract for them. They already ran the numbers. They want to purchase it. She's like, well, you know, I just think we need to give the tenants more time. That's what she made it seem like it was about the tenants, but really, the buyers had went to the open house.
Yeah.
Make it. They talked to them and got a different angle on it.
Yep. I got you, bro. So hold on a second here. So the buyer ended up buying the property for the price that you sent it out to them, or was it cheaper?
They got it for more. They got it for they got it for less. Yeah, I had it at $850.
Okay, you had it at $850 and they bought it for $830.
The ARV was 1.2.
And you got under contract for how much?
$780.
Dang, bro. Dude, that's like what? $780, $850. Dude, that's a big, I mean, hold on a second, bro. Let me do the math really quick, man. So 850 minus 780. Sorry, you guys. You don't. That's a 70K assignment fee.
And I would have split that.
With your mentor.
Yeah. It was on. I think we were doing 70-30. Like 70%.
And so when you talked to your mentor about it, did he walk you through the whole thing, man, or what's going on?
He attempted to get everything in order. He called them back. He walked me through everything through the whole process. But when it came to the open house, the seller already had the open house scheduled through for sale by owner on Zillow.
Wait, but you already locked it up on the contract.
Yes. But she kept going with that date. She said, well, you know, if you want to come look at it, I already had a scheduled open house date on Zillow. And I said, oh, okay, but it's for sale by owner. So I said, okay. So my mentor, he said, oh, no worries. I'll go. I'll make it there. You know, I'll make it there.
Wait. Okay, bro. So they signed the contract with you already, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they still continue doing the open house.
Yes.
Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then okay, got you. So they continue. And now what did they list it at?
They had it, I want to say they had it at 810. I think it was 810,000.
Oh, okay. So they had it at 810. So you came in and offer. Okay. So so 810. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. So now when you found the buyer, how much time left was on the contract?
About a week and a half. I think it took me about 2 weeks total to find a buyer. And that's just my marketing.
Okay, bro,
I wasn't sharp on it.
Right. So so let's say you still have a week and a half left. The title company couldn't close it that quick? No. Because
and
of
the lady,
COVID?
yeah. No, this was last year. This is when I first got into, like when I first came across wholesale and first jumped into it. This was last March, to be honest with you.
So the buyer title company tells you that they can't close it by then.
The buyer's title company told me that they needed me to transfer everything over to them from that title company.
Right.
And I told the owner that this is what was going on, and she got weirded out by that. She did.
Okay, and then you just end up canceling the whole thing.
The contract date was coming to a close, so literally, it was already 3 days left. 3 days after the close, it was by the time he put it in by the time he put it in escrow, it was 3 days left to the contract.
Oh, okay. Hold on, bro. So it took you 2 weeks to find the buyers.
Yeah.
And once you found the buyers, you signed the assignment agreement, and doesn't that go to the title company right away?
Yeah.
So which means it gives you what, 2 weeks?
I sent everything to my title company. He sent his stuff to his title company.
Got it.
And then they told me to send everything over to them, and I had to let the owner know that we were transferring everything over to that title company.
Oh, okay.
And when I told her that, she got weirded out by that. And I said, well, miss, everything is still going smooth. Go ahead.
Right. Okay. So here's where it's at, bro. So the thing is, Brandon, when you transfer, man, I mean, listen, dude, the seller doesn't really need to know. All right. So you can just, because because you're going to be the one, obviously the buyer's going to be the one that's going to pay for it, right?
Yeah.
So you just take the information here, dude, just transfer over to another title company. You don't
The
have
title
to,
company informed her,
oh, the title company calls her and let her know that.
and then
That's
she
the,
contacted me and said, "Well, what's going on?" And she got weirded out by that. She said, "Well, why do you need to transfer? Why can't he just put his money in this account?" And I said, "Well, they have a standing relationship with them, and so we wanted to go through that title company." And she was like, "Well, I prefer mine. Maybe I should just wait." And then just everything just went left.
wait. Bro, so the seller asked you to use her title company.
Yeah, she said, "Well, I didn't
That's
want
the
to switch."
That's the problem. Okay. Well, there's two problems. Problem number one is that because you use, that's why you guys, those of you who's listening here, man, there's a lot of lesson here. And I want to make this short so we can get into the deal section here. One, you always want to be the one in control of the deal. You do not want to use your buyer's title company or the seller's company, all right? Because the relationship what you have with your title company, your escrow agent, when there's an issue that comes up, they call you. But if you're using, someone else's, you're not in control. And guess this is the stuff that actually can happen. So obviously the seller got a little scared. Did you go back?
She did. She got way weird out.
Bro, so did you go back and tell the buyer, hey, you know what? We are open up escrow in this on my contract.
Yeah.
It said we're going to use my escrow agent. I need you to send it over there.
And it took him till the closing of the contract. He called me like, "Hey, we just got in touch with your contract, with your title agent. It took them forever to get back to us. We're going to transfer everything, but I was already out of contract." So to get that to lock back up with the seller, she was like, "Nah, I think I'm just going to wait. Let's just get the tenants time to move out." And then everything went left.
I see. Okay. So basically, so the buyer obviously was trying to go behind your back. They're trying to take their sweet time and not getting this thing done.
So they ended up not even really buying the property until August.
Okay.
Right out there, right outside of Facebook headquarters too.
Oh, wow. Gotcha, bro. Dang, dude, I feel sorry for you, bro. Because this would have been in control of the deal a lot better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyways,
I learned a lot from that situation.
Yeah, good for you, man. So sorry we don't have enough time, you guys. So we're just gonna move on, and I'm gonna let Brandon continue to tell his stories.
So basically, I went to Louisiana. I drove around because I was visiting there, and I seen a couple of properties, put them on Deal Machine, and then I called a couple of people. I called the first 3 or 4 people that I actually text them. And the one guy texted me and said, "Well, what property?" And I sent him an address and said, "Well, I don't want to sell that property, but I have 2 other ones you can buy." And so I looked it up, and he said, "I'm not taking less than 150 for both properties." He said, "Yeah." I said, "Okay." So I looked it up. It was one was a single 3-bed 2-bath. One was a double 1-bed 1-bath, both next to each other directly. Same, both blue houses, and they were on the same lot. So it was a perfect situation. I looked at ARV up for everything, but it was hard because I've never done comps for Louisiana. I know certain places you got to do comps differently. Some you got to do smaller than a mile. Some you have to do up to a mile. So I had a wholesaler I contacted, and he helped me out down there with that. Got good numbers. And we was going to partner with it, but I found a buyer first. He contacted me through my Facebook marketing and said he wanted to take a look at the property. Went through the steps, and was able to negotiate the price down based on some issues that the buyer found when he went by with the seller. Now, this I learned that being open with both seller and buyer as far as what your role is in this transaction has helped out greatly in this and open up trust for everybody. So then they call you, they respond to you, they instead of not wanting to do business, he asked me, "Is this a wholesale deal?" And I said, "It potentially could be. If the money don't work out for me right, if the numbers don't work out for me properly." So he said, "Oh, okay, that's cool." I found the buyer. The buyer said, "Is this a wholesale deal?" I said, "Yes, it is a wholesale deal. This is what the fee is. My fee is already incorporated in the number, and would it work for you?" And he said it would. We found the issue with the plumbing. We got the seller to go down 3,000. Remember, he said he wouldn't do lower than 150. Got him to go down to 147. Sold it for 157.
Oh, so okay, hold on a second. So where did you find okay. So okay, got the now was the property, was it listed?
No.
Okay, it wasn't listed. And you used a deal machine, right?
Yep.
Gotcha. For those of you who drive for dollars, right, it's one of your marketing or one of your lead source to find distressed property or distressed homeowner. And if you do a lot of driving for dollar, check out deal machines. Brandon, do you have like any kind of a promo code with them or anything like that that you want to use? Okay. Well, for those who wants to try them out, there's no string attached. It's just dealmachine.com. It's an app. All right. And it's amazing. You can actually do it virtually. They link it up with Google Map. All right, so you can actually sit at home on your computer, drive around, look for rundown property, distressed property, and with the click of a button, you can send them a postcard. You can skip trace to find the seller's phone number, and you can call them up. All right, and if you use my promo code WTM, you can get a $40 credit and a 14 days free trial. So if you don't like it, no string attached. You got nothing to lose. All right, but you got $40 to spend for free. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's worth it because I learned that I have a lady who I just locked up under contract to her properties, but I sent a postcard to her back in October, but it took until May for her to even sign the contract. We've been talking, missing appointments on her end and rescheduling on her end. And basically, but it took that time. So it's good to get as much data, as many properties as you can, because you're going to need to. Some people are not going to be ready to sell. Some people are going to be ready to sell sooner than others.
Brandon, that is a good point. Like for those of you who, you're hustling, you're grinding, you start planting your seeds, and all of a sudden 2 months in, 3 months in, 6 months in, you give up. Well, I'm telling you, there are sellers that will call you back sometime in a year. I have sellers that say, hey, I got a postcard from you, or I got a message from you, 8 months ago or a year ago, I wasn't ready to sell at that time, but I kept your postcard, I kept your letter, I'm calling you now, right? And if you're not in the game, and if you're not continue to be in the game to educate yourself, and when it comes to a transaction, man, one deal, 10K, 20K, 50K, dude, boom.
Never seen the house, never went to the property, never stepped foot inside the house, did everything from my living room.
Dang, bro, I like that, man. I like that. So
I locked up 12 more after that. I learned how to do it. Listen to your phone calls, a lot of your phone calls when you do live calling, taking down notes. Because I know that's part of your Khang Wholesale script package. And I'm like, I don't have $400, so I'll just listen to him and make phone calls.
Good for you, bro. Good.
But it works, man. It works. It really does. And to get as many as you can, and the buyers come. Buyers just come. It's really about how you put it out there, but they do come fast.
Yeah, and
I have more buyers than I have properties now.
More buyers than property. And another thing I want to point out, you guys, is that the nice thing about Deal Machine is you pretty much custom build your own list, right? Nobody's going to have exact same list. It's like you're not going on a website, you're not pulling the list, because you are literally driving for dollars physically or virtually, and you're building your own little list. Now, okay, so once you get the seller, and now how long do you lock the contract under contract this time, Brandon?
I had it locked up for 45 days, but so the seller signed May 13th, the buyer signed May 27th.
Dang, okay, bro. So it takes you roughly almost 2 weeks, same thing, to find the buyers. And where do you find your buyers?
He found my post on Facebook.
Facebook Marketplace or Facebook group?
Marketplace.
Nice, bro.
It might have been a group. It might have been a Louisiana group, because I started joining the groups in different markets that I'm in.
Good for you. Okay, so for those of you, listen, there's a Facebook group for real estate investor, wholesaler in every single city. Area. All right. So just Google on Facebook, or just Google local REIA Facebook group. All right. REIA, Real Estate Investor Association. Right. So search them up and then join the group, because that's where you can find other wholesaler, investor, flipper, contractors. I mean, you name it, anything real estate related, you can pretty much find in there. I know that there's people in there that actually partner up on deals with each other and all of that. Okay, man. So now let's talk about the whole thing. So you lock it up under contract. Now, Brandon, do you have any kind of constructions or anything like that? Construction background? Okay, people are going to ask you, so how do you estimate repairs?
I listened to a lot of your videos and other people's videos that I watch, and I learned that, you know, light repairs is $10 to $15, medium repairs is roughly around 20, 25, and heavy repairs is roughly around $30, $35 per square foot. So I kind of just did the math, but at the same time with that, I also had a wholesaler that I partnered with. Even though he didn't find a buyer, he was okay with the fact that he didn't find a buyer in time. But he was able to go out to the property and do some things extra because, you know, he wanted to partner through the deal. So yeah, it worked out perfectly. And he
Good,
was
man.
able to show me that my numbers were on pretty much where it was on point pretty much.
Nice, bro. Okay. So for those of you, when you do virtually, I highly recommend you find foot on the ground, right? Network with other wholesaler, network with real estate agent, all right? Build that relationship, all right? So that way you guys can help each other out. Sometimes they, you know, they're there in that state, right? And they'll be like, hey, I got someone that I can send out and facilitate the showing for you, or I can have someone go out and actually take picture for you and just ask them like, hey, bro, like, how much does it cost? You know, if you were to go out and do this, for me, it's just making sure that it works for both. And I know that, you know, a lot of people that are new jumping into the game, they're very anxious and very motivated to work with other wholesalers that have deals under contract, and they like to be able to learn it as well. So sometimes, you know, they can offer to do that, and they charge you what, 25, 30, 50 bucks an hour, right? And all it takes is roughly about 1 hour or so. But like I said, sometimes you build the relationship where people will actually help you out and just do for you just because they want to build that relationship with you.
Shout out to Steven at Louisiana Home Buyers. Steven at Louisiana Home Buyers. He really came through and taught me a lot about the market itself, because I didn't know a lot about, you know, because I'm from a different location. So it's completely different than Louisiana. And it's in New Orleans, and New Orleans is its own country, from what I was told.
Yeah, gotcha. So now, as far as in title company, what title company do you use, Brandon?
I went with the buyer's title company.
Okay.
Now, it wasn't my first choice, and I'm gonna tell you why. He asked, and I asked the seller, and he said it was cool, but it ended up taking them a full 30 days
to close,
to run the title. Yes, I mean. Yes, I had to write an extension for 1 day because the date of closing for the contract was June 30th. We were supposed to close the 15th, but they got mixed up with their number. I don't know who told them, but they thought it was 8 wholesalers on my deal. I'm like, huh? She said, well, it seems like you got 8 people on your deal and then 2 people on the seller side. I said, no, he has 2 properties that we're closing on, but it's only me. And so I did learn that you can't use your business name unless you register your business in that state, or I couldn't use they told me I couldn't use my business name because it wasn't registered in the state of Louisiana. So I used my personal name.
Okay, that's definitely the first that I've heard, because I've done business in Louisiana, and I don't register my business name in Louisiana, so that's weird to me anyway.
She told me to take it and transfer the contract to my personal name.
Okay, man. So I want to know, what title company is that?
Camilla Title Company in Slidell, Louisiana.
Camilla Title. Okay, gotcha, bro.
Yeah.
Got it. Just for those of you who are in the area, if you want to use them, there you go. Now, okay, so now, Brandon, when you found the buyer, did the buyer do the walkthrough? Did the buyer sight unseen?
Yeah.
Okay.
He did a walkthrough with an inspector. Went by there twice, and actually met with the seller there too.
Okay. And this
he
time
didn't try no underhanded stuff. No, not at all.
Now, how did you? I guess people are going to ask you. So, why did you trust the buyers to go like?
Oh, well, I didn't initially. I trusted Steven, the wholesaler. And so he was going to go by there and link up with him. But he also knew of the buyer from being in the area. So he had some background on him. So that made it a little But just being open and honest and talking to each of them and letting them know what kind of transaction it was, you know, it that made it more or less easier for me to trust, or easier for me to trust them rather.
I see. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you guys,
He knew it was a wholesale deal. He knew that I had it under contract. He couldn't get it from nobody but from me because it's already signed by the owner. So if you want this property, you got to go through me, buddy.
yeah.
So,
No, but he didn't know that he didn't know your assignment fee was, right? Did he know or did he not know?
No. When I sent him the assignment contract, it's in the assignment contract. So yeah.
Okay, got it.
He signed. He saw what the fee was.
I see. So, okay, here's the tips that I want to give to those of you who listen. This is something that I've done recently for the last couple, I would say 4 to 5 months already, and it seems to be working really good for us when it comes to building a relationship with the seller. So typically now, once we get a property locked up on a contract with the seller, man, I will actually send them a small box of chocolate with a thank you note in there. Hey, thank you so much for choosing our company to work with. We look forward to getting this close and we're getting this wrap up for you. And what that does is it's just taking that connections to the next level. So when we ask for an extension, man, you know, it's like the sellers, you know, we follow up with the seller say, hey, we just received your gift. Thank you so much. Right. Yeah. And it's just, you guys, it's just something small. But I'm telling you, when it comes to asking for extensions or anything,
it matters.
So, yeah, it does matter, and the seller would go an extra mile for you just because they have received something like that. And like I said, for us, we tried it and it seems to work because for us, we have to ask a couple extensions from the seller, and they were gladly to be able to do it. And when they received the gift, they said, "Thank you so much," you know. For your company, you know, basically the thoughts. So that's something that I want to throw out there. Okay, so Brandon, let's move on to, man. Okay, so you got it for 150, and then you had to go back and renegotiate the seller.
Yeah.
Down to how much? 147.
Yeah.
And then your price to the buy was how much?
I brought it down 3,000 for him. I left it at the $10,000 spread. I brought it down because there were issues. So he found that there was a pipe issue. So the seller fixed the first pipe issue for the first house. So when he went back with the inspector for the second house, that one wasn't fixed. And I said, look, to the seller, I said, hey, look, he wants to know if you'll be willing to negotiate the price down, or are you going to be able to fix this one as well? And he said, well, it cost you $2,400. I said, well, let's just round it up to 3,000. Let's just take it down to 147. And he was like, okay, I can do that. Just that easy. Asking him.
Got it, man. So now, Brandon, how long did it took you, man, to actually do your first deal?
I quit like 5 times. I quit. Man. I started last January. I started getting into it, researching, looking on YouTube University. Then
January 2019.
Yeah, and I started looking. That's when I started researching everything, and I got my first contract last year, but I didn't close. Yep. I actually went through like 3 contracts before I realized what I was doing wrong. And like I said, I quit 5 times, but I couldn't really get away from it because I knew what I knew. I found out everything. I'm like, man, I just found this stuff. I know it's working for people. I need to just give it a try. I've seen how easy it was for me to get the contract. I've seen how easy it is to negotiate with sellers. I see how easy it is to find buyers, but I wasn't doing as much as I should have been. I can't do 1 or 2 phone calls thinking that's going to get through. I remember somebody said it takes 1 for every 100 calls may be a deal. It really takes doing more than what you would normally do. And I was being lazy because I wanted to do it, wanted it right now. Quit a couple times because I'm like, man, I found a buyer for 1 property a day after the contract closed. I mean, a wholesaler lady called me like, hey, I found a buyer for the property. He wants to go take a look at it. We can split the deal. We can both split $8,000, so we make $4,500 a piece. And I said, oh, the contract closed yesterday. And she was like, what? And he ended up went on ahead and buying the property. But this is just, I learned a lot of things along the way. So when I really dove into it, it took me from May 7th from May 1st to May 7th to get me a contract. And the lady gave me 2 houses. And then this house came May 13th. I just really kept going. I bought a subscription to a text messaging company, to bulk text, and it hit a couple lists that I had already accumulated.
Who's that?
CDYN Corporation.
C what?
CDYN.
CDYN.
Yeah, CDYN Corporation. They do RVM and SMS. It's pretty good. They $200 a month for 10,000 messages.
Okay.
And they can respond back to you, so it's pretty good. It's nice. It worked, and I landed 12 contracts from just text messaging.
So Brandon, so what do you do most right now to get your leads? Text messaging?
Text messaging and calling. I'm actually in the middle of hiring a cold caller. I need a cold caller. I've accumulated a lot of data over the year. Yep. So, and I've gone back past my driving routes and seen that the house is still there. So it's time to get started. So I hired a cold caller, and she's going to be cold calling. I got somebody who's going to help me team up with me with the text messaging, because I have lists from multiple markets that I'm working in now.
Okay, gotcha. So Brandon, you said multiple market. Could you name what market you work in, bro? Just so people that watch this know and they can reach out to you.
Florida, Texas, of course, Louisiana, Maryland. I live in Maryland. I tried to reach out to your mentor, Mike Fitz. I tried to reach out to him, man. He's hard to get a hold of. But I tried to reach out to him when I found out that you came out here to learn from him. I tried to reach out to him.
He's very hard to get a hold of.
I know. But
he's a busy guy, man.
Yeah. So Maryland, DC, and California, because I lived in California for a few. So
nice. Well, Brandon, I want to say, man, congrats, dude. That's awesome, bro. And seeing you continue to grow, because most people after their first deal now they're struggling to get deal coming in. Not everybody close to their first deal. Actually, you guys go to the next level and actually continue to build a business. So I just want to let you guys know that. So for those that really, really make it, man, I understand the hard work and the effort and the focus and the determination that goes into it. Because I've been there too, man. So I know, dude. So Brandon, any last word for the people that are watching, that are starting out, man? Same thing, struggling, trying to get that first deal, or try and get the first, second, or third deal, man.
You can't do it without talking to the sellers. You can't get the deal without talking to them, flat out. And if you remember that it's not about the money. Focus on, it's a mindset shift you have to not focus on the results. You have to focus on what you can do to help the person out. The results is going to come. 80% of your 20% of your effort will get you 80% of results. So if you focus on talking to the sellers and helping them out, whatever it may be, it could be, I'm getting people calling me, asking me to help them get tenants out. They're family members. I'm just from Facebook. They're, hey, I got somebody, I need you to help me get out my house. Just helping people out, you will get rewarded for that regardless. So if you take the mindset of not focusing on the money and focusing on actually helping people, the rewards will come.
And the thing is, you guys, listen, man, when you're lack of something, it's hard not to think about it. So I completely understand, but Brandon, dropping bombs, bro, respect. Now,
I quit my job. I did this. I quit my job, and but I've been doing it for I lived on my little bit of money, and for the last 6 months, I've been through the corona in the house with my kids, focused on this, making calls, sending text messages, and building my marketing team.
Good for you, man. Good for you, bro. Good for you, bro. Okay, so Brandon, how can people get a hold of you and connect with you, bro?
Facebook. You can Google search me. We're on Google now, so you can look up the company name is Generational Equity Investments LLC, and Step Up Investment Group LLC. We are an investment company, and we focus on real estate services. So holla whenever you need something.
Holla! No, wait. So just that, or can they also find you?
IG, IG. I'm on IG. stepup.geneq.invest. Nationwide Dream Deals is my IG, and
love it, man.
GenEq Investments is my other IG.
Awesome.
Focus on cash buyers, focus on sellers, and focus on overall company credibility.
Good, man. Brandon, would you text me all the link, bros, just so I can put it below in the description? So for those of you who want to reach out, connect with Brandon, I'll drop the link all right below. For those of you who recently closed your first wholesale deal and you want to jump onto the channel with me, man, to share your stories, to inspire and motivate other people, you know, please shoot me a DM on Instagram or shoot me an email. So Instagram is Khang, Khang dot like a period WTM. Email is just WTTMfam@gmail.com. So, but when you send it over, please not just talk, but send me over proof. I need proof. I need to see the money. All right. I'd love to get you onto the channel, man. And so for us to motivate and inspire other people. Brandon, I want to say thank you so much for your time,
Thank
dude.
you,
I truly, really appreciate it. Much success to you, bro. And let's stay connected.
Thank you very much for having me on, man. It's because of you guys that I've made it this far.
Ah, dude, I appreciate it, man. Now, Brandon, bro, how important it is knowing how to talk to seller, bro.
It's very important. And being patient. Oh, bro, I got a lady right now. She makes me want to pull my hair out. But she's the sweetest old lady. And she gave me additional house just for getting her houses sold, helping her get her houses sold.
Good for you, my man. Good for you, my man. Dude, I have a seller right now, too, bro. We're trying to close the deal, and it's so hard to get a hold of him, man. So
Oh,
hard.
man, they disappear on you real fast.
Yeah.
They don't mind. They don't mind disappearing. They know what your number is now, so they just look at it and say, "I'll call him back."
Yeah. Brandon, thank you so much, you guys. So have a great rest of the day. Thanks, bro.
You too. Thank you.
Bye, dude.